Welcome to Ham Radio TV. I'm Jason, KM6FAK, and today we're going to talk about the best radio to buy for your car or truck. Now, when selecting a radio, there's definitely a lot to pick from. Whether it's manufacturer, the feature set, or just the size, or what you want to do with it. When I looked for a radio for my car, I wanted it fairly simple and straightforward. Now, the best radio for your car obviously is the one that's working, but you want it to stay working and not really have to mess with it.
2 on and 2 out, bang!
When I started shopping, I decided to go with the top 3 brands, a Yaesu, an ICOM, a Kenwood. And my thought was, it's going to be in that car for a while. It's going to be through some heat, it's going to be through some cold. Depending where you live, it could be 150 degrees Fahrenheit or it could be below freezing conditions. Not to mention how much bumping around and vibrating it's going to take as it lives its life. A lot of times in the car, that's where I find myself operating the most. So I also wanted a radio that had a good duty cycle, that could take transmitting on continuous QSOs on my hour or so drive. You know, living out here in California, an hour commute to work is definitely very common. Now when I hit the internet and all the different catalogs that you get, I had 5 main things I was looking for when putting a radio in my car. The first being dual band. I wanted to be both on 2 meters as well as 70 centimeters. In my area, and I'm guessing in most, you're going to have repeaters on both bands. So I didn't want to limit myself on just either or. Next, I wanted a dual VFO. So the dual VFO feature is gives me the ability to listen to 2 different bands, 2 different frequencies. So in other words, there's a left side and a right side. On my left side, let's say, I can monitor my favorite repeater. Maybe I'm looking for someone, maybe I'm waiting for someone. Meanwhile, on the other side of the radio, I can have it scan or have a QSO with someone else. I also wanted a removable front panel for the radio. Initially buying the radio, I wasn't really sure where I was going to put it, how I was going to mount it, whether or not I wanted to pull it out of the car and operate portable or maybe in the RV. So the idea of being able to take the front panel, the face off, I really like that idea. I also wanted to find a radio that came with the kit, the detachable kit. Some radios, you do got to buy that separately. I also was very interested in the cross band repeat functionality. Now, that is something that not all radios have, and what the cross band repeat functionality gives you is the ability to use an HT like this one, and you can then work your radio from inside your house or maybe on a hike where it has very limited repeater range. And what happens is the HT then talks to your car, and then the car radio talks to the repeater or wherever that might be located. So I was very interested in that functionality, and not all the radios out there had it. I also wanted something fairly easy, not heavy in menus to use. I wanted to have a number of buttons to push. So when I was driving down the road, it was very easy to adjust and operate. So the radio I picked is the Yaesu FT8900R. It met all the criteria and features I was looking for. Not to mention, it also ended up being a quad band radio. Now, I wasn't really sure if I needed a quad band, and I've had it now going on for 3 or 4 years, I think. And quite honestly, it's fun to have 6 meters. And it's also neat to have the ability for 10 meters. But I primarily use it for the 2 meter and 70 centimeter portion. Now, occasionally I'll jump on 6 meters. I'll put up a different antenna. And that can be a lot of fun. But there's only a couple people in my area that really will be on 6 meters. This radio has a quad band, a dual VFO, removable front kit, and all of the kit bracket cable came with it. And it has quite a few buttons here to move around the menu and select things a lot easier than trying to go through an actual menu system. Now when I got this from the folks at MTC. They're out of Paris, Texas. It was on sale for $300, so that was a great deal. It does 50 watts on the 2 meter, 6 meter, and 10 meter, and then it'll do 35 watts on the 70 centimeter. Now as far as the 2 meter, it covers 144 to 146 megahertz. 70 centimeters, it's 430 to 440 megahertz. 6 meters, 50 to 54 megahertz. And 10 meter, 28 to 29.7 megahertz. Now one thing you have to remember is this is going to be all FM, so it doesn't have the ability to do any kind of single sideband. And one big feature that I was really excited about and have used it multiple times since owning the radio is the ability to cross-band repeat. I think that is very neat. So let's dive into the radio. I'll just quickly show you a real quick how to program basics of this here radio. I think it's fairly straightforward. I do not own the right cable to plug it into the computer, so all of the program that I have done has been through just the front of the panel here, using the microphone and the buttons as you see. So let's take a look. I didn't realize how much I was rambling while filming until I was later editing 30 minutes worth of video. Look for part 2 in the next week or so, where I'll walk you through some of the basics and how to get started on the 8900R. These are only my opinions, but please let me know what you think makes a great mobile rig. I'm rounding the corner to 1,000 subscribers and could really use your help in subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. May the sunspots be with you, and 73.